Welcome back to JOJ. It is the July 31st, the last day and Sunday of the month.
Yeah.
So if you've been keeping up with us, we have been talking about trust all month. And last week we talked about Abraham and Isaac and him being willing to sacrifice his only son. But, trusting that the Lord was going to cover that sacrifice and it not be his son. Today we're going to talk about the disciples and how they, came to trust. Should we do a brief reminder of what trust is?
Yeah.
We haven't said it in the last few episodes.
It's been a little bit.
So for the last one, we'll give you the definition again. It is a firm belief in the reliability, truth, ability, and strength of someone or something. And for our Bible story lesson today, I feel like Mr. Ott is going to read Luke 5, 1 through 11.
Yeah, and I thought this one would fit in timeline pretty good. The first one of these that we did for the month was in the Noah in the face of ridicule. I kind of look at that as the early levels of trust. You're trusting God, and sometimes that can kind of come back, and people will, you may have to deal with ridicule because of that.
Yeah.
And then, so you go to the next week, and God been able to deliver you from situations that you may have either gotten yourself into, or just situations that just were by chance. And then, third, the story of trust with sacrifice. With Abraham, trusting and that he was going to sacrifice his son, but thankfully he didn't end up having to do that. But also how we trust fully in God's sacrifice of Jesus, and that is what, that's where our salvation is. And once you're saved, so if you've trusted God, hopefully with that, hopefully that you have your salvation in the Lord, that God is going to He's going to use you. He wants to use you at that point in time. Once you're saved, He wants you to.
He wants to use you, and the devil wants to do everything he can to deter you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So He wants you to, God wants you to be doing things for the kingdom and to be glorifying Him. So that's really what this is in Luke 5 is Jesus calling His very first disciples. So the very first guys who were going to spend a lot of time with Him. He was already on the earth, had been here for 30-some years and was beginning His ministry. He'd already performed a few miracles at this point in time, and word of Jesus was getting around, so people were starting to know who He was, and He was, speaking in public more and teaching people in different places. And that's kind of the setting as to where we're at here in Luke 5. So, starting in verse 1. One day as Jesus was standing by the Sea of Gennesaret, and another thing that says the Sea of Galilee, the people were crowding around Him and listening to the Word of God. He saw at the water's edge 2 boats left there by the fishermen who were washing their nets. So you've got these guys, they pulled their boats up on the bank. The boats are there. They're over here, working, cleaning their nets and whatever. He got into one of the boats, the one belonging to Simon, and asked him to put out a little from shore, and that's Simon Peter. Then he sat down and taught the people from the boat. When he had finished speaking, he said to Simon, "Put out into deep water and let down the nets for a catch." And I love where this goes from here. Simon answered, "Master, we've worked hard all night and haven't caught anything. But since you say so, I will let down the nets." So they've been over here. They pulled their boats up on the bank. They ain't caught nothing all night. Fished all night. They're over here just cleaning their nets up. They're going to go home. They probably don't smell good. They
probably aren't happy. Not
happy. They're tired. They got bills to pay, and they ain't caught nothing. So he's like, "If you say so." You can almost feel like he's like sarcastically. Sense the tone. Yeah. Whatever, if you say so. When they'd done so, they caught such a large number of fish that their nets began to break. So they signaled their partners in the other boat to come and help them. And they came and filled both boats so full that they began to sink. When Simon Peter saw this, the guy whose boat he got in first, he fell at Jesus' knees and said, "Go away from me, Lord, I am a sinful man." For he and all his companions were astonished at the catch of fish they had taken. And so were James and John, the sons of Zebedee, Simon's partners. And Jesus said to Simon, "Don't be afraid. From now on you will fish for people." So they pulled their boats up on shore, left everything, and followed him. That's a pretty, like, I mean, if that happened, if I pulled up on the bank and I ain't caught anything all night, and the guy says, "Hey, why don't you just throw over there one more time?" I'm a professional fisherman. That's what Simon Peter was in his day. He was a professional fisherman. And I mean, he's probably over here like, he's probably heard of Jesus at this point, and and he's kind of like, word around was getting around about him, and he's over here talking to these people, but he's kind of trying to mind his own business, I feel like, and has this interaction, and then at that point he's like, I know I'm not worthy of what you have. You're obviously the Messiah, the Almighty. I know who I am. He says, I'm a sinful man. Go away from me, Lord. But then Jesus, accepted him as he was. He says, don't be afraid. From now on, you will fish for people. That's just, to me, to put yourself there on the bank where this is all happening is an incredible thing for the way that Jesus called his first disciples. We've compared a lot of these, to our real life. Probably not going to see the seas part, walk through on dry ground. Obviously, Jesus isn't going to come back and this kind of thing happen again. But that calling that he puts in our life is very real, and it's something that we should not be afraid of and step into when he calls us to that.
Yeah, for sure. And I do. I'm like God. I always just imagine them being frustrated and tired and smelly and all the things, and then to have so many fish that their boats are nearly sinking, and that his first reaction isn't just like, oh yeah, look at us, we're so good, or I mean, he just immediately knows that he is in the presence of Jesus, and just falls to his knees and doesn't want him near him because he doesn't feel righteous to be with him, and so you kind of think of, I always think of that, like when we get to heaven, like, it says that's what we will do is, bow down before him because none of us deserve to be there. But, and comparing that in our times in real life, like, I think our callings are, we always say that, once you are his child, he wants you pursuing and to be fishing for people. It's just really ironic because that's what God does. So, people really, but that is, kind of our that is our end goal, is to, what was the guy, tell me about who we met and we're not stealing his tagline.
Yeah.
But I don't want to say his tagline because it's his. Yeah. But
well, I think it'd be okay. Jason and Wendy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's started a YouTube channel. I don't remember what the name of it is right off.
I'll find the link and
we'll put
it in there when we do the caption.
But his tagline, for his YouTube channel is my goal is souls. And I mean, that's, as Christians, that's what it should be for us. I mean, that should be our goal, is to help win souls to Jesus. That is our calling. That's the Great Commission. But yeah, that's and those I feel those disciples fully trusted God and everything at that point in time. And I think that's what he calls us to do. It doesn't, we don't have to completely throw away our livelihood and those type of things. That's not necessarily what he's calling us. Not yet.
He hasn't called us to do that.
Yeah, not yet. I mean, not saying that everybody. I mean, missionaries, and there are people that absolutely that God calls to do that, and we're very thankful for them. But and that's what these guys obviously did. They they pulled their boats up on the shore, left everything, and followed him. That they left it all behind. That they weren't concerned at that point in time about how they were going to pay their taxes, how they were going to provide for their families, or anything else. And I think Simon was, if not the only one of the few that were actually married at that point in time. But they left it all, and we're going to, to follow Jesus. So, yeah, that is the ultimate
Yeah.
trust right
Yeah.
there.
Yep. So yeah, and I know our experience from, being Ott had spoke at a few things, kind of once, maybe twice a year or something.
Yeah.
But we've had, people can look at us and see, yeah, he's successful, with his fishing career and everything else. But I think besides all of that, like the cooler part of that is I have emails, I have speaking engagements we can't get to because we are so booked and we don't have enough time in the year. I mean, I have like 4 or 5 just for next year, like waiting. And so, I mean, all of that, our career may be fishing, but our calling is people.
Absolutely.
That's a good one.
That was a really good one.
Yeah.
No, and that's exactly right. And that was, I take a lot of that back to 2019, starting off with winning the Classic and just what that did professionally, career-wise. And, my prayer before the Classic started was that God would be glorified through that. So if he used me, if he used somebody else, as long as he was glorified the most possible way, and I believe wholeheartedly that that's why he chose me in that situation, was because I committed that to him, but I committed the follow through part of that to him, that as many engagements as he would give us at that point in time, because I knew that would happen, that if if I won that event, and because I've watched that with other guys that I'm friends with, you get opportunities that you didn't have otherwise, especially with speaking engagements and things like that. So I committed that to him, that if he gave me that victory, that I would follow through as best as our ability. I mean, that there are only so many weeks in the year, and there's only so many that we can get to. But that I would do that, and that I would use that opportunity to give him the glory for it. And then, little did we know, 3 months later, he was going to give us an even more incredible testimony with my heart issue and stuff. So, that was, to me, there's no question that's why that all happened the way that it did. And we just trusted that was, that was his design, and that everything was going to be fine through that, and that we could glorify him with it. So, that was, it's been, what did you just say? Fishing is my career, but people is my calling.
Oh man, I don't know.
You've already forgot it?
I did.
Fishing is my career, but people is my calling, I think is.
People are my calling, not people is my calling.
I did go to Jefferson County. Okay, so say it. So what was your line again?
It was that fishing is our career, but people are our calling.
People are our calling. Yeah.
Good?
That's really good.
Yeah,
absolutely.
All right. So if there is a calling you've had, or I'm sure at some point you will have, just trust that it is what you're supposed to be doing.
Absolutely. Yeah. Pray about it and ask God to show you that. And if it's being a teacher at Vacation Bible School, if it's Sunday school, if it's in worship, if it's a calling to be a preacher or whatever it may be, just pray about it, but trust God through that, and He will show you exactly how to get there. So, so let's see. Let's just wrap up with verse 11 again.
Okay.
We'll do just verse 11. So Luke 5, verse 11. So they pulled their boats up on shore, left everything, and followed him. Yep. All right. So I hope y'all enjoyed July.
Yes. Next Sunday is special.
Oh, it is.
It's our anniversary.
It'll be our anniversary next Sunday. Yeah. That is right. So.
And it's supposed to be live, but I think we're going to do a video. Surprise Jake.
Maybe not. We'll see.
We'll see what Jake says.
You'll find out what we do.
Yeah.
See y'all next Sunday on our anniversary.
Yeah.